Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 958. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Morning, Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
We've got 12 days, we could say, upon release of this episode. 12 days and 5 hours until Doctor Who begins. I count that down to precisely midnight UK time.
An affront to all true fans.
On May 11th. Friday, May 10th, for those of us in North America.
I mean, Friday.
Doctor Who Day is Friday.
I get to sit down, have dinner, and watch Doctor Who. It sounds good to me. That's a Friday.
It's still going to be so weird to watch Doctor Who for the first time on a Friday. For us here. Sorry, UK. Listen, I was thinking about it. Growing up, I think all three of us had this experience. Growing up as we did watching KSPS, Spokane.
At the dinner hour.
Not at the dinner hour. For me, I really became a fan when Doctor Who was on in the omnibuses on Saturday night, like at 10,
first it was
11
the
o'clock.
11
every day,
PM.
and then it became the Saturday omnibus ones,
Yeah, so Doctor Who has always been a late night obsession to me, whereas in the UK you never had that. So let's look at it this way, folks. We're now switching our destinies, and that we grew up watching it at midnight, staying up for it and being excited about it, but taping it just in case I fell asleep, which sometimes I did during the 6-parters, let's face it. And now we you get that experience, and we get to watch it at 5 o'clock on a
one
Friday.
thing that Brits don't enjoy, it's the colonies being unctuous. So
That's true.
showing cheek, in fact.
Yeah. RTD and Doctor Who Magazine, we'll talk about it in this episode, goes on about saying, like, basically the time is now yours. You can watch whenever you want. You can watch it, he does kind of make a point where it's like, well, sometimes you'll like delay it so other friends could be around, so you're watching it like 10 minutes later. It's like, well, you are now not watching it at the exact time as promised.
Not a big deal, really.
It isn't in the long way of things, and it is how literally every single show that Doctor Who is compared to is doing things.
I'm still happy
done for several years
that I could watch Doctor Who live in England once. I don't have to anymore, obviously, but it's nice that I could at one time in 2015.
That's true.
So
yeah, we did it. We got the experience done.
when I was in Britain the other week, so we were out with Andrew Smith. We stopped by his house on the way back from Aldbourne to head back to London, and we're just in his front room, and he's like, "This is the room where Stephen and Erica saw the Zygon inversion."
My God!
What is
wow,
this is fry erasure.
Is there a blue plaque there or something?
If you want to create one, I'm sure that you can put it on the wall.
It was an exciting time.
But I was going to say, I've heard enough Brits over the years complain when Doctor Who is on and it's not dark outside. So midnight UK time, it'll be dark. So
that's what I say.
So this is your chance, UK. Watch it when it's dark.
Right, exactly. You know what though? When we watched it was like November like 7th or something like that, and it was like 8:30 p.m. The episodes of the Zygon 2-parter went out, and it was like, this feels late. It feels like
I'm asking
really
for trouble.
late.
I'm asking for trouble here, but I mean, you got the entire Whoniverse. You've got everything practically except Unearthly Child to just call on whenever you want. We can throw up Pluto or Roku or Plex or any number of other things that just show random Doctor Who's whenever. What the hell are we complaining about here, people?
Well, it's the 3.5 million people who watch on original broadcast and got the feeling that they got to watch it first. That's what's being taken away.
Yeah, you're some guy, and I don't know if this still happens, but back in the day, somebody would be on a forum or YouTube or whatever, and they'd go first, so they got their first posted. And what's the point?
Well, here's the thing about even cable and like live broadcasts is that like we upgraded our digital cable from analog recently, the last few months, and I've kind of been holding off, and I forgot why I did that, and now I remember because digital cable is not live.
No, I always screw that up. I rewind things by mistake.
We're watching a streaming of thing because I know this because I was watching the Oilers game at home a few weeks ago or something, and all of a sudden I heard like cheers and whoops going on like somewhere else in the apartment building. It says, "Oh, I think we're going to score," and then we scored. The Oilers scored an overtime winner against the St. Louis Blues, and it's like, well, this was live TV before, so even live TV is not even live.
Even
anymore.
then, there were delays. There were like slight delays depending on how they were distributing it. So
I do miss the days of analog cable when it comes to digital cable is the worst of both worlds. It gets you like here, you pay for cable, but it's basically you're just paying for streaming because it's not actually
is it really the worst of both
anymore.
Worlds though? Really, when you're down, as opposed to rabbit ears, like come on.
Once upon a time, when I was in Greenwich, going to the observatory, there was a thing talking about like just how time zones work and distances and whatever, and strictly speaking, even though like the UK is all in one time zone, there's a difference, like an actual difference of, I think it was like 7 minutes between like London and Norfolk or something like that.
Right.
So like, live isn't live.
Let me just put it this way. I took in a private chat group, I put the meme up of Batman snapping the rifle in half and saying, "This is the weapon of the enemy. We do not use it. We do not want it." And then I put time zones up top.
Invented by a Canadian. Time zones was as crystal light. Yeah, that's right. If any of us watched Heritage Minutes back in the day, you would have learned that. To the point of broadcast and drop times and stuff. So obviously we're going to be watching each new episode at 5 p.m. our time, Mountain Time, which no one else lives in. So we have to say 4 Pacific or so.
I'm going to watch it 5 Pacific just because I can.
You could, Warren. It's up to you. But hey, here's the thing that's locked in stone, and this is kind of crazy to think about. But our live stream reviews are returning. Where you can watch us as you do now if you're on YouTube. You can watch us review the episodes live, and our first one will be at Saturday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Mountain Time for us. 11 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. in the UK. I did get that math right because there's no clock shenanigans. So technically, we are basically going to be reviewing the episodes before they even get broadcast on BBC One.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
Kelly Scandal.
Because they still haven't announced the time, to my knowledge, but that should be around 6 p.m. Give or take.
Yes. So by the time we're actually done our review, they'll actually show up on BBC One. So factor that in, those of you who are on the. But we thought about doing Sundays again, but it just was not going to work out. So Saturdays it's going to have to be. So that's so if you want to join us, it's on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Radio Free Skaro. We're going to be reviewing 2 episodes at once. We'll probably take like a tiny short break in between just to collect our thoughts, gather water, or something like that. A commercial break, if you will. It won't be a commercial break.
Pledge break.
We need to have a graphic that says intermission with some wacky music.
We can, true. We can just like take some because there's a bunch of like PBS pledge breaks on YouTube.
Oh, there you go.
Just take one of them. Find some old KSPS one. Find some,
I like where you're going with this.
Some good
Chris.
Bill
I
Stanley.
Like
and
good Bill Stanley.
That in between.
That's true.
And the more important thing about Saturday, May 11th, other than the Eurovision final.
Oh God, I don't know. I don't even know what this is then, Warren. What is it?
Magna Carta Day.
It is Magna Carta Day. That is true. 3 things converge at once.
It's amazing how many days are Magna Carta days.
It is. Well,
any day can be Magna Carta Day.
Any day, yeah, Magna Carta Day.
It could be. Celebrate the Magna Carta as you would want. It's a streaming universe now. You can celebrate Magna Carta May 10th.
It's a streaming legal document from the 1200s.
June 15th. March the 4th, you can celebrate Magna Carta whenever you want now.
Except for May the 4th.
Corrected by pedants.
Yeah. May the 4th is kind of taken. Yeah. You're not allowed to celebrate that day. But
are there going to any of the Star Wars films that weekend?
No, why bother?
Well, are they really? They're putting films out back in the.
They're putting Phantom Menace out, I think.
No.
Why would they do that? Why would they want to do that?
Let me explain something to you about the despecialized editions.
Okay. I know. Well, they don't have the despecialized Phantom Menace, but like, why? Like, I feel like the marketing campaign would be like, experience that disappointment again for the first time. Because that's what honestly is like. I remember going to see the Phantom Menace and going, "Oh, I've seen a Star Wars. That's so exciting!" I'm going. I'm thinking, have I just aged out of this, or is something wrong with the movie? And no, it's the children who are wrong, and it was the actual movie.
But
it was wrong.
If they're showing the special editions, which they will be, of and that's never going to change because Kathleen Kennedy and George Lucas are tight, so it's not going to happen.
Well,
but a wonderful human being, whose name escapes me.
You're not immortal, I'll say that. All right.
He did these specialized editions where he took the 4K stuff, mixed and matched, took out all the crap, and it's the original versions looking good. And I've got all 3 kicking around. And
I do too.
30 gigs each, and they're worth every gig.
Every penny.
I just watched the end of Return of the Jedi because I just kind of stumbled across them on hard drive. I'm like,
damn,
I forgot how good this is.
It's so good, Warren. It's the best. I cannot watch
they take off from
unspecialized.
the Death Star, and it explodes properly, and none of this ring nonsense.
Hey, I like the shockwave.
I don't like the shockwave. The shockwave only worked in one movie alone, and that's the explosion of Praxis at the beginning of Star Trek 6. Yeah,
it actually is good in Attack of the Clones. That little soundless, that's a good sequence.
Oh, that's pretty cool. But
the Boba Fett chase to the
exactly. Yes. Boba Fett being a child, not so cool. But
yeah, they didn't cram it in an existing Star Wars show.
But yeah, it's the prequel trilogy on the 4th and the original trilogy on the 5th.
Oh, they really? I didn't.
One day only for
sequel trilogy gets no love.
No.
What you do is you see the first 2 and then you walk out. Yeah, that's the end. That's the end of the story. Very good.
Yeah,
thank you. Well done, J.J. Abrams.
If I had the choice, I would probably just walk out after Force Awakens and just like, you know what? Let's just leave it.
Well, teach their own.
Well, my better half's first exposure to Star Wars was Phantom Menace.
That's true.
There's a whole generation that loves those movies, and I'll defend parts of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For when Phantom Menace came out, I remember seeing it. It was at least 3 times in the cinema. Not 18,000 times like you and Force Awakens.
Yeah, that's weird.
Literally 5 times, but all right.
Yeah, really? Close enough. But the first time seeing it was at West End, Silver City, back in the good old days with the dragon and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, there's a big Yoda there too.
The dragon, yeah.
But it was like they were running it in. They were running in I don't know how many theaters overall, and it was probably. It was like all day, all night. Like the tickets. A friend's mother bought us tickets, and there were I don't know how 6 or 8 of us in the group that went. We saw it at 3.
Wait in line for him too.
We saw it at 3:00 in the morning. Like
good God,
that was the start time. It was 3 a.m.
Jar Jar at 3 in the morning is a bit much.
You kids don't know what it was like.
We lined up for like a week beforehand, not for a week, but a week beforehand they put the tickets on sale. So we all lined up in front of Eaton Center, me and a bunch of other hardcores. And and at one point the security guard comes up, right out of the Simpsons, yeah, you gotta leave, guys. And I'm like, no, we don't. So this kid who's like, I don't know, dedicated to Star Wars, he's maybe like 14 or something. He's like, are we gonna have to go? I'm like, no. This guy has to call the cops. He's not gonna do anything. And then the cops aren't gonna do a damn thing because we're a bunch of nerds. Right? By the time that gets settled, we'll get our tickets. He's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, I taught this young man a lesson, I guess.
That is how you stand up to
civil
the man,
disobedience.
Right there. Yep, exactly. Waiting in line for
the Phantom Menace. That's where I stake my claim.
25 years ago. Can you believe it? 25 years ago.
I definitely did not hate watching Phantom Menace.
It was cool seeing a new Star
going
Wars.
3 times.
Yeah, I guess so. But Erica saw it 9 times in the theater.
Wow.
But here's the
9 times.
Now I see that there's a new Star Wars series coming out, and I'm like, oh, fine, all right, whatever.
Yeah, no, I don't. There's lots of laser swords in it.
Shortly after the theatrical release, there was a lovely VCD copy that was making the rounds with
Let me tell you a story
with all the Thai subtitles.
I think I was the one that got you that because a friend of mine
That is possible.
From a somewhat dodgy Asian source.
But I watched that I don't know how many times. Like I was into the Phantom Menace enough. Like, okay, I wasn't a Jar Jar fan, I'll admit, but the rest of it. And then one friend of mine is convinced that the Phantom Menace exists only to have had the Pod Racer video game created.
Which is not a good game. But anyway, so here's some statute. I think the statute of limitations is up on this. I got that from a friend of mine, and I ran it. I had dubbed it to Super VHS, and I watched it in the control room for Super Channel.
Oh my God.
If I just hit one button,
You could have done
That
it.
would have gone on the air across Western Canada, and I did not. But we had an amazing sound system in there, as Stephen can attest to. So I just cranked it and watched the pod race and everything else. And it was and if they ever want to give me a crap about this, the guy who eventually fired me and I got my money back, I gave him a copy of it, and I had that in my back pocket. I'm like, okay, you're gonna try some crap. Well, here we go. You have an illegal copy of Phantom Menace, and then you run this station. So well. Anyway, that's all water under the bridge. Who cares? But
How many times did you see it, Stephen?
Once.
Just once?
So once in the theater. I think that's it. I think I saw it once with two people from work. I think it was after the work day has done on whatever day it was, May 25th. I don't remember when Phantom Menace came out. And so
I think May 25th, I think.
Yeah, I just felt kind of empty and just thought like this is kind of the moment where I was 25, I guess at the time, and I felt like maybe this is it. Maybe this is what it feels to be grown up, not being overwhelmed by a Star Wars film anymore.
I had that happen, even though I liked Revenge of the Sith. I had that happen with Revenge of the Sith. I'm like, well, that's over and done with now. Okay.
Yeah, because in between, we saw Lord of the Rings came out not long after that, and it's like, oh my god,
Matrix.
this is like
Also really, really
a
good.
lot of people like the Matrix. I didn't see it at the time, and because me missing out on a revolution is not uncommon in my life. So, be it grunge, be it the Matrix, be it Friends, be it rom-coms.
Well, you could just weed all those.
Marvel movies.
And you sure as hell did not start watching Doctor Who in 1963 either.
I didn't. I confirmed I didn't.
Not a true fan.
I watched it whenever I wanted to get to it, bringing us back again in a circle to our original point. 15 minutes into this episode. This is how the pros do it, kids. This is how you do 958 episodes
It's a
of a
stretch it out
Doctor
for
Who
YouTube's
podcast.
Just before we fully drop Phantom Menace, I just want to say, in my opinion, it still has the absolute best promotional poster for any movie ever.
Oh, the shadow
with Anakin standing
One
there
of the better
and
ones,
the Vader shadow behind him.
That was pretty
really
good.
good.
Just pretty good.
Chef's
poster.
kiss.
It was really good.
And it has one of the best lightsaber fights until Last Jedi,
Well-
which is an equally good lightsaber fight.
Yeah. I guess it was pretty good, actually. Ewan McGregor's pretty good. Watch Ewan McGregor in The Gentleman's...
I like how everything hinges on
Gentleman
your
in
approval,
Moscow?
apparently.
Yeah.
I
Ewan
have to start
McGregor
watching that.
what is the show? It's about in Russia or something like that. It's on Paramount Plus.
Well, then I'm never seeing it. Paramount Plus, I'm not going to try.
That's true.
It's buried under your Thai subtitled copy of Phantom Menace.
That's how I get Paramount Plus. Is it my Paramount Plus VCD that just plays whatever's on? It's magical.
That's the one.
Watch Ewan McGregor in his TV debut, Lipstick on Your Collar from 1992, co-starring... What's his name? Peter Jeffrey from Androids of Tara.
If you're going to raise your hand to make a point, you kind of have
The
that one.
Macroterra, yeah.
Right?
There you go. That's our tie in there. Anyway, apologies for all the nostalgia, Star Wars talk, and
Regret.
a hefty dose of Edmonton content there, as we completely
How about
avoided
them
the
Oilers? Yeah.
Doctor Who stuff. Oilers won 6-1 against
Don't care.
LA last night in Game 3 of the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Speaking of LA, the hotel block at the LAX Marriott for Gallifrey One 2025 is opening up Friday,
This is my face.
May 3rd at noon Pacific time. Tickets are still on sale. Tickets will not sell out for a while. Just buy them now, which I encourage you to do. But the Marriott block is always a bit of a front time for Doctor Who
For about
fans,
5 minutes, and then sold out.
Oh,
Not
5
even
minutes and
5
it's
minutes is
over.
Optimistic. It's more like 1 minute.
It is a bit of a Hunger Games, but the hotel is only so big and there's only so many rooms available, and so be there, be square at Friday, May 3rd on I believe it's on the Facebook page is where the link will be posted.
Yeah.
At that time or around that time. So if it doesn't show up right at noon Pacific time, do not panic. It will be there.
I will be in the Edmonton airport. I will have set everything up on my laptop ahead of time before I close it. Then I will open it, have everything ready to go, be sitting there just waiting for it, hoping the Yeg Wi-Fi doesn't screw me over.
Oh, Tether.
Use cell
Tether.
data. Use cell data.
Yeah,
It's
probably should.
worth the 18 cents that you might pay on your
good point.
phone bill. Yeah, just do it.
It's
It's my
included.
recommendation.
It's included. There's no 18-cent premium.
It's included. Yeah. So,
It's not texting in 1998.
I know that.
Yeah.
I'm just
10 cents per text. What?
yeah. I know. Anyway, it's exciting to think about Gallifrey One again. Which, this honestly, this will be the time when it sort of brings up again, and we'll all get nostalgic and happy and excited about Gallifrey One. It'll sort of die down a little bit, and then the first guest announcement will happen like in late summer. We'll be it's always good fun. 35th edition of Gallifrey One, and we'll be there, of course.
Gallifrey One sine wave. Yep,
that's
like
true.
you say.
So there you go. Friday, May 3rd, noon Pacific. Be there on the Gallifrey One Facebook page, where they'll be posting the hotel link. All right, 20 minutes into this episode, let's talk about, what do you got, Chris, before we go on?
You don't have to be signed into Facebook to be able to see the link. You don't have to have been signed up to Facebook to see the link.
But pro tip, sign up, get a Marriott account, and sign up and have that ready to go. Because otherwise you're asking for a world of hurt.
Yeah. You can add that afterward, but get a bonfire. Get your free Wi-Fi.
Just get all that set up, because otherwise you'll run into nonsense.
For those who choose not to use Facebook, you can still get at the information without having to use Facebook.
Vital information in this day and age. Yeah. Aaron Sorkin's planning a new film about 14 years after The Social Network, because he thinks Facebook has basically wrecked everything. So.
Unpopular opinion: Social Network, not a good movie.
I haven't seen it, but I do appreciate that he realizes, oh wait, Facebook is actually kind of...
David Fincher's direction is magnificent.
Sure, but the movie itself, I'm like, I don't care about any of these people, and nobody understands what a computer is in this movie, including the people in it, so to hell with this.
Oh,
I was unimpressed.
It's like people who don't understand drum sets. Oh, that's a teaser for a mea culpa later on this episode.
Another mea culpa.
Yeah, let's talk about the BBC press launch for season 1. It happened on Thursday at some theater in London. I can't remember which one. I was told, but I can't remember.
Somewhere on Regent Street.
Regent Street Theater. That's the one that it was. Here's the fun thing. They at first they drove around London in a London bus. So technically, I'm holding this in the YouTube version of this. You can see now. Is that I have a Lego bus, which is now canon.
Why haven't you put the Doctor Who thing on the side?
I thought about it. I can confirm that legendary Doctor Who director Rachel Talalay has this exact same giant London Lego bus set that she built. So we both have that. And now it's screen accurate, because it's the old timey one too, which is the great thing about it. It's like with the round lights.
Rootmaster.
Yeah, that is proper. I can confirm. I'm basically looking at this picture of an actual London bus and looking at my Lego set. It says, "Yep, checks out. That's an actual London bus."
Wow,
you nailed it, London. You nailed it.
I do actually have right back there the Big Ben in Lego form, so I'm also participating. Nice.
You know what? I only thought about that this morning. Is that they drove around next to the Big Ben, the London Eye, the Royal Albert Hall, Westminster Bridge by Big Ben, as referenced in
our video.
In our video.
Nothing else.
Yes, Radio Free Skaro show opener for 2016, location Westminster Bridge. I noticed that they're really leaning into this is a British show, everyone. Remember that. We're still British from the BBC. Because Disney Plus and stuff is involved. I feel like they're really leaning into the Britishness of it all for this promotion.
Well, for the Brits. Fair enough. Whatever.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And then we had our sexy young co-stars, Shooty Gatwa and Millie Gibson, walking across random crosswalks that were not
these
tall.
Gorgeous individuals. This is just insane. This shouldn't be legal. How good looking these people are.
It is uncomfortably how beautiful these two people are, especially together and posing in front of Abbey Road Studios, as seen and only seen in the beginning of Get Back, when George Harrison is running in to go record.
When everybody's stealing from him.
Yep. And then they also showed up with Shooty having a costume change in front of BBC Broadcasting House, where precisely 0 episodes of Doctor Who have ever been made.
But it's still cool looking. Adventure Space and Time was made there, more or less.
No, it was not.
No. I'm thinking of the other one, the old one.
You're thinking of Old Television Center, which is not really in its proper form anymore. So,
it's flats now. So.
It is flats now.
Oh, that's a big ass
and
flower.
Underground gym.
Yeah, Shooty Gatwa had a big giant flower on giant wide lapels on his trousers for proper trousing. They worked well. Millie Gibson had a lovely dress on. Brian May and Anita Dobson were there as well, amongst many others.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was Tom Baker at first glance.
I
think you'll find it's Dr. Brian May, please.
Dr. Brian May, that's right.
He's an astrophysicist, which is kind of cool.
Who follows my wife on Instagram.
That's true, yeah. So the premiere happened. 2 episodes worth. Space Babies and The Devil's Cord. That all happened. Reviews they've been embargoed, I think, for now. I'm sure they'll probably come out at some point.
The Disney press launch in the States is when?
Well, I was about to get to the Disney press launch. Happens next week, or this coming week, I suppose, as you're listening to this. Certainly on the 2nd and 3rd, there will be press interviews. Russell T Davies in Doctor Who Magazine 603, which we'll get to, mentions that there's going to be stuff in New York and L.A.
Well.
Which I was surprised by, given that
means
L.A.
talk shows is what that means.
It means talk shows, because, because did we talk about this off air or on air last week? I don't remember. But Jimmy Kimmel is an ABC branded entity,
Yeah.
but he's in LA, and I feel like they would probably want to get Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson on.
Can't see why they wouldn't.
But it's in LA. It's a long ways away. I mean, New York is, we've all done the trip from London to New York, which actually in the long run isn't that bad.
No,
I mean,
like
Phil
6 hours,
Collins
something like
did
that?
it on Concorde. Yeah. And so, that I can see, but going all the way to LA is going to be a bit of a task, but they're going to do it. So it's probably going to happen next week sometime too. So all this stuff is happening next week. I was watching out of the corner of my eye, watching the Oilers game, and I had another monitor on, another CBC thing. And right before the clock struck 8 to go to the Oilers game, a Doctor Who on Disney Plus ad aired
On CBC.
on CBC/Sportsnet. So,
Ironically, since they brought the Doctor back.
yeah, so this is exciting in that there's going to be like ads for Doctor Who on, not only, like, I was kind of mildly surprised by the on Sportsnet, because they don't have any direct ties to it, but like Stanley Cup playoffs are also airing on ESPN in the States, so are the NBA playoffs in the ESPN in the States. And that's a Disney-owned entity, and so like there'll probably be Doctor Who ads on major sporting events.
They buy a
in the
block
US.
of Disney, whatever they're going to be showing. They're like, okay, Disney Plus is advertising during this game at this time. And
Well,
then whatever the thing is, they show.
Disney owns ESPN.
Well, yeah, okay. There's
Well,
that.
That's what I mean to say.
In the U.S., because one stream that I watched the other day for the Oilers game 2. Anyway, it's also on TNT, which is not Disney.
Some stuff no, but the ESPN, TNT, and TBS split coverage of NHL playoff hockey. But there is a lot of stuff on ESPN. The Stanley Cup Final is on ABC in June, which is right around when the Doctor Who season is kind of wrapping up. So I bet it'll be like, for that, it'll be kind of huge. I don't know if they're covering the NBA playoffs. Sorry for sports talk, Warren, but it is kind of relevant in this context.
I have a thought that I'm going to share.
Okay, go for it. What do you got?
My thought is that the real revenue from ESPN is sports betting, and that's what Disney is making a pile of money on. So how long until they have Millie and the Doctor advertising
Gibson,
whatever the hell at the top?
Bet 365
yeah, that
or
one, Bet 365 or whatever. Because in England, there's no taboo whatsoever to betting. So they'd be like, I mean, I'm not going to speak for them. They probably wouldn't, but
no.
I would not be surprised if I saw some sort of thing that barely ties Doctor Who together with sports betting.
I don't know about that.
But it's a complete false rumor I just made up. But yeah.
Chris and I are looking dismissively because Warren doesn't understand sports, right? Chris?
Well,
Isn't Warren
I
an
understand
idiot?
how they make money over sport, and what they do is sports betting. So
I was more thinking of, and I can't remember who it was, some athlete. I want to say a soccer player, soccer, football, whatever player.
All right,
getting in trouble for betting on sporting events, even though they themselves are a shill for the betting firms.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
was that NBA? I thought.
And it might have been NBA.
And then there's Otani's translator who was just ripping him off gambling.
Yeah.
That's more like classic gambling, not actual sports betting.
Vintage gambling.
Yeah, exactly.
Legacy gambling.
Vintage criminality.
Yeah. I mentioned this. There's an Incomparable episode coming out this Saturday coming up, the first weekend of May, which we recorded last week, oddly enough. So I can tease it a little bit. But I mentioned about how Jason Snell was on a panel at Gallifrey One, and he said that everyone was sort of asked, like, when did you first experience Doctor Who? And he alone on that panel was the one that said PBS in the 80s. Everyone else said Netflix, even though Netflix was never a original distributor, but like when the episodes were on Netflix, and we can kind of see, like,
is that an age thing?
Yeah, it's an
it's definitely an age thing.
It's an age thing, but also it's, as I mentioned on the podcast, it's also just an accessibility thing. It was right there.
Yeah.
When Doctor Who left Netflix, let's face it, it kind of diminished out of the public eye, and you kind of had to find it, and you had to tell people where it was. You know, it's on BBC America and this and this. And now, once again, it's on this major platform, Disney Plus, which is not Netflix, let's face it, numbers-wise. But
still pretty big.
It's still pretty big. And it'll just be there. You'll fire up Disney Plus, and it'll be a banner on the top, and Doctor Who will just be there. You won't have to you won't have to search for it anymore.
Not just,
and that might be huge when it comes
only,
to
but
yeah.
Not
You know?
just an age thing though. It's when you were like when we were all more or less the same age.
Yeah.
You had to be a special kind of nerd to go on PBS in the first place, look for British stuff in the second place. If it's on Netflix, it's just there for you, right? So you can just go, oh, this looks interesting, and not have any previous interest.
The flip side of that is basically you're only going to find British stuff on PBS.
No, but you were going to look for it, is what I'm saying. And
Yeah,
Netflix,
but you're not going to look to ITV or CBS or
Mm.
something for British stuff because it's just not going to be there.
CBC, the odd thing on CBC would be
True. Yeah,
Right.
CBC, sure.
and then YTV would make ham-handed attempts at it.
Yeah. I mean, so that's big. It's big, honestly. It's big that this will introduce a lot more people to Doctor Who that probably wouldn't have seen it before.
But I mean,
or had a chance to see it before. Just by having it appear on the top banner of Disney Plus when they fire it up.
My question about it being an age thing, like, because theoretically somebody could be 40, never having watched Doctor Who, and then boom,
Exactly.
there's Netflix, and
I've had 30-year-old friends ask, and I told them, watch Shudigawa because it's all new.
Think about how many parents with kids who have got Disney Plus in the last 3 or 4 years because of the pandemic or whatever. The place, we pop the kids in front of Disney Plus and watch Bluey all day.
So long, Bluey.
And all of a sudden there's a Doctor Who thing up there. And it's like, oh, I've never seen it. I've heard about Doctor Who. I think I maybe watched an episode or two back in the 80s or something like that. Boom, there's your whole other, it's big because Disney Plus paid up front for 2 seasons worth of Doctor Who, which is why they're making 2 seasons of Doctor Who back to back to get that investment right then and there. So these 2 seasons of Doctor Who, especially the first one, obviously, are very important. To go down well.
more on that later as well.
Yeah. So anyway, so that'll be happening. So this coming week, which Warren will not be around for next week. We're getting a guest host for it because Warren's busy. He's too busy to talk about this. He's boycotting RFS because of the Disney press launch.
No,
it's become too Americanized.
It's because he has to be in Edmonton.
Yeah, with my family. What a jerk.
I know. Of all the things, Warren's coming to the actual place where Chris
Warren,
and I live.
We are your true family.
You are not. If in a Jim Jones Kool-Aid sort of way, then maybe.
Wow.
Flavor Aid, please.
Thank you.
It's flavoring, sir. It's good to pedant of all the things you pedant
It's
about
Flavor
Jim
Aid.
Jones.
Listen, don't disparage the good name of Kool-Aid when it
Or
was
Jim
not
Jones,
Kool-Aid.
for that
Or
matter.
Jim Jones.
He did good work.
Well,
As I remind you, the Jonestown Massacre happened the day after if not around the same time that the Star Wars Holiday Special aired in 1978.
Connected?
Exact same day.
Think about it.
no coincidence at all.
No coincidence at all.
No, so one had Life Day and one had.
That's okay. Let's just park this right now.
Just stop right.
I mean, I brought this up, so I apologize. but-
It's your fault.
Shooty Gatwa and Millie Gibson were on the One Show last Friday. Some Birmingham website said divisive episode of the One Show because one person says, "Why are they talking over each other? Why are they having a good time?" Shooty Gatwa and Millie Gibson both on the One Show. Which, if like me, if you've ever seen This Time with Alan Partridge, I can never watch the same way again because This Time with Alan Partridge is basically a spoof of shows like the One Show, and it's hilarious and wonderful. And I watched the episodes many, many times.
I enjoyed Shooty Gatwa rocking the dark green and pink Ned Flanders style top there.
As I said before we recorded, is there anything this man can't wear? And the answer is no. He can wear absolutely anything.
He absolutely cannot. Yeah.
If you've ever seen Star Trek 3, Chekhov has a truly ridiculous outfit on. He could pull it off. Chekhov did not, but he could.
No, Chekhov's outfit is like Buddy from Elf.
It's weird how you just kind of get used to it in the movie, but it is really ridiculous. But somehow Shudigawa could pull it off.
Shooty Gatwa could probably wear Millie Gibson's white dress and look fine.
Should
That's
wear
true.
Millie Gibson's white dress and look fine. I mean, look fine.
Yeah. Also, there's a big thing in Variety magazine or Variety website, I guess. A big article about Doctor Who and Shooty Gatwa and everything else, where they, it's basically an introductory piece kind of thing. It's nothing groundbreaking. There wasn't groundbreaking in the one show either. There wasn't even any new footage or anything, but it was just,
Well, the other guest,
Shooty are so charming,
the other guest on the one show was Michelle Collins.
Yeah, Michelle Collins,
who was in
EastEnders, but
42.
also, yeah, which they talked about
Briefly,
all over each other, as that one article said. That one person on Twitter was very upset.
Well, one person on Twitter is certainly divisive. I mean, Twitter is divisive, so I guess that's correct.
Chris sent us a link to this article. Now we're just busy riffing off it, making much more out of it.
Yeah, take that, Birmingham, whatever newspaper.
Yeah. So, anyway, links to the show notes if you want to read the Variety article. Talked about Shooty Gatwa being the first queer black doctor. About how he's there have been interviews too, actually, about how Shooty Gatwa says, "I'm not going anywhere soon." Like Russell already has ideas for
beyond the
3
2 seasons
with Shooty Gatwa in it. So eliminate the fears of them making 2 seasons back to back to capitalize on Shooty wanting to get the hell out. He wants to be there.
Obviously, none of us are going to know. None of us outside of the the brain trust are going to know any particulars until we're allowed to know them. But I mean, all the stuff about Millie Gibson being gone and whatnot's proving to be quite untrue. I mean,
very.
Remember to take any rumors with a grain of salt, folks.
Fans are full of crap.
That's all I can say,
including us. So there you go.
Yeah,
I've heard some rumors about Shooty Gatwa's behavior on set, for example, and I'm not going to repeat them, but I don't believe them either. So.
Good.
I mean, I will believe that actors are jerks, just generally. So there's that.
Wow.
But I don't. Who knows? Unless you're there to see it, then you don't know.
Yeah, rumors, folks.
Yeah.
I don't even know what rumors you're talking about, Chris. So.
Oh, no, that's because I haven't told you guys.
Well, good. Keep it like that.
Yeah, keep it like that.
Also, not to put too fine a point on it, but plenty of people have an issue with Shooty Gatwa that has got nothing to do with anything other than the usual nonsense.
Yeah.
So anytime you see a rumor, there's that
or-
added cherry on top of racism.
Yeah. Anyway, so Doctor Who magazine, I guess, is our...
you're moving swiftly on. Yeah, that's what I was going to.
On.
Yeah, there's the with the Doctor Who cover with the very 60s cover. Also, they had a version of it which was the Beatles cover with which
I love the mono at the top to match the
album
cover.
The art with the Beatles with ostensibly the 4 Beatles and then
which is the proper way to listen to old Beatles
and in mono. And some people have said, well, wait a second, those people don't look like the Beatles at all. Because
of course not. They're not the Beatles.
They aren't, but also the more you look at it, the more you're like, they might have a point.
That like Ringo does look more like Pete Townsend than Ringo Starr. And now here's the thing too. So this is where I want to talk about because it's now been publicly revealed that this episode takes place in February of 1963. So before the Beatles become the Beatles per se.
They're still skiffle guys, which is why they're probably going to play skiffle stuff. That's
kind of. They're recording their first album, I believe. Please Please Me, I think is what it is. And which, you know what? I'll say it. Ringo did not have his iconic Ludwig kit.
Nobody cares but you.
I do, but people do because people always message me about this, so I have to keep telling this.
Okay, if you say so.
So Ringo did. So I'm here to say I was wrong. I was wrong, folks, because I jumped to a conclusion and said that that's not Ringo's kit. But you know what? He had a Premier kit. That's the brand name, Premier. Up until towards the end of 1963, when he got the iconic Mother of Pearl Ludwig kit, he got originally. Here's the level of research I've done, folks. I'm looking for a camera to point out when there's one camera.
You got to turn to the other camera to make a point, like you're on an old news show in a movie.
Even the drum size is right because he had a 20-inch bass drum. I'm a drummer. This is why I know this. He had a 20-inch bass drum, and he originally had a Mother of Pearl kit with a 20-inch bass drum. He later got a 22-inch bass drum for his touring kit in '64. So even the drum size is accurate. I am sorry, Doctor Who set designer, because the microphone stands are perfectly period, and now the drum set is too. Now we move on to something. Okay, I got something else, but go on, Chris. What do you got?
Where are you on this whole Lennon having an acoustic guitar thing?
Well, that's bad. That's still bad because I've seen somebody sent us a video of the first ever newsreel footage of them recording in '63, I think, or '64, and Lennon is sitting down with the guitar, and there's a microphone right next to him, basically, and they're recording. I think they're probably recording. I don't know what song it was, but he is recording an acoustic guitar, but there's a microphone right there, and I think McCartney's on bass somewhere, maybe elsewhere in the studios, and maybe they overdub an electric guitar part. So I guess they did actually record the acoustic bits live with the rest of the band, or at least just the bass guitar to keep them in time. But there's no microphone in shot anywhere, and they're recording it like they're performing for the sound booth, which is also wrong.
That could just be a publicity shot, which they have to do in between takes and all the rest of it. So
exactly.
So it could just be rearranged stuff for lighting or whatever.
That too.
Or the mic hasn't been moved into place just quite yet.
Exactly.
Well, we'll see. It looks like they're firing up. Now, here's the big thing, because a listener sent this to me and pointed this out, and I further pointed out that something else is wrong. I don't have an image to back me up on this, but trust me on this. And there's a shot in February '63.
Well, your record so far is pretty spotty. So okay.
I listened, Warren. I'm going back and doing research and correcting myself when I'm wrong.
Do the research, man.
Is that wrong? I don't think so. None of the Beatles had the type of mop tops that were sort of synonymous with the Beatles in 1963. They were sort of like a little, like, especially Paul didn't really have the mop top at all. All four Beatles in this episode have sort of that 64, 65 mop top.
Yeah.
And rather crucially pointed out by the listener, the glasses that John Lennon is wearing are the ones that he acquired while on set when he shot the film How to Win a War. How I Lost the War was the movie, 1967 that he did.
How I Won the War, I think.
How I Won the War, yeah. and later would appear with him in Sgt. Pepper's. And
I'll give you this. That is very incongruous.
So, and then I responded back to this kind listener and said, you know what? Basically what they're going for is not what people know of the Beatles, but what people think.
Yeah, this is like in Hellbent, where they got the Western thing and it's on Gallifrey. Yeah. And it doesn't make any sense, but it's iconic and you can just grab onto it. So that's basically what this is.
They're latching on to what the established thought of the Beatles are, as opposed to what they were at the time.
In a world where mavity is a word, this could all be jumbled around, right? So it's the Doctor Who universe. It could be different. So I'm really stretching to me. My main question is, which is the greater crime? You screwing up Magna Carta, or you mea culpaing on this?
I don't know.
Happy Magna Carta Day, by the way.
Happy Magna Carta Day, for one.
Every day can be Magna Carta Day, if only you believe in Magna Carta.
Yeah. Ringo did have a premiere kit in February 1963. Not knowing the original date, and thus, as I say, I was wrong in jumping to a conclusion, but I am a Doctor Who fan. I am allowed to jump to a conclusion or two here,
no,
all right?
You're not allowed. You will.
Exactly. It's my right. And
no, it's
my
not your right, but you will anyway. Neither of those things, but you will do it.
As a Doctor Who fan. I love that we have talked so much about the Devil's Cord before even getting to watch
I would like to correct that. You have talked so much about the Devil's Cord.
Well, it's like you were remarking before we started recording. Even RTD is like, yeah, with the streaming thing, you can watch the Devil's Cord first if you want.
I might just do it.
He stole that from me.
Let's get out of this. Let's get this out of the way right now. Let's get into that drum. I won't do it. I will watch it.
Just sitting there getting madder and madder the whole time.
I will literally press play right at. Oh God, it's gonna be like, it's gonna be great. We're gonna press play at 7:00. We'll have watched our time. We'll have watched 2 episodes of Doctor Who in that order,
and you'll be very angry about drum crimes.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Doctor Who magazine had that previews of the first 3 episodes as well, with Simon Guerrier all over this. I've seen Simon Guerrier write as much stuff as he did in this particular issue of Doctor Who magazine. He did a preview of Space Babies. Benjamin Cook did one for Devil's Cord. It doesn't mention the drum set at all, or the mop tops, or the glasses. So a bit of a failure in writing there. And then the third one, Boom, by Stephen Moffat, which, let's face it, is going to be my favorite episode, because it's a suspense episode. It's written by Stephen Moffat. It's also, as mentioned in the article, is the first episode of Doctor Who ever made with help of a volume or LED screen technology.
For religious reasons, hate that, but
well, I mean, I did some research. So Pixamundo is the company that was sought out, which has a footprint in Vancouver.
I've seen them ads on LinkedIn for those guys.
Right, they have
stuff I know what qualified to do.
That's all right. They have 3 volume stages, 2 in Vancouver. No, 2 in Toronto, 1 in Vancouver, I think it is.
I bet you they do. They probably do. I don't know if this is true or not, but it would strike me they probably do Trek stuff because
they do Trek. They do Discovery and Strange New Worlds and a bunch of other stuff, probably shot in Toronto. But they also have a portable version of that. So not a 360, but kind of like just a curved wall, which is what they used for parts of Boom.
Not the same company, but I did a story a couple weeks ago about they're building one in, I think, Regina, like a smaller version. So
Regina?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Saskatchewan.
The thing about the volume is that if I wanted to bad enough, I could rent out a warehouse and have a volume in it, and if I had the money to do it. But I mean, a lot of this is going to become decentralized because of that. So is that good or bad? It's like anything in film. Some of this and some of that. So
I guess. That one looks tense and exciting, though. And no offense to Space Babies and Devil's Court, but they kind of look like, RTD nonsense, let's face it. So I'm looking forward to that sort of like snap back to reality of episode 3.
How 3 episodes into the new era, or 4 technically, you're already going, well, bring Moffat back. Oh, here he is.
You're already trying to you're already decided what the contents of the episodes will be. You've dismissed them. And
the first season, we need some classic Chibnall. Come on.
Yeah, I know. After that, though, I have no idea what's happening, so it's perfectly fine. But I mean, this is different to what we had during the Chibnall era, when we would know nothing about any episodes or what titles where they were or when they were airing or anything like that. Now we have like sort of previews from all of them and multiple trailers to go off of, and
so you can, to quote Willy Wonka, live in a world of imagination.
That's true,
or speculation, more accurate.
Pure imagination, as a matter of fact. So anyway, Doctor Who Magazine 603. Has a lot of stuff in it, including the title, the cover rather, with fictitious beetles on there. There's also coming up in May a 50 years of the Fourth Doctor,
the GOAT
special edition. Yeah, absolutely. Tom Baker. There's a cover there with Tom Baker pointing at us. That's coming out May 2nd. So this coming week. How about that?
Here's some Canadian content. My boss sent me a link because TVO. Or it wasn't Retro Ontario, maybe, put a thing on Instagram with it 50 years. And, we showed this. They're celebrating his 50 years. And it was TV Ontario showed it. And he's not a Doctor Who fan. But as a kid, he watched TV Ontario because he's about my age. And he's like, this is my guy. I'm like, you damn right it is. This is Tom Baker, baby.
Damn straight. Tom Baker, the GOAT. So that's because there's exclusive interviews. There's new fiction by Christopher Hamilton Binmead as well. About Tom Baker, probably how much he basically writes about how he's
more about bubble memory. I need to know about bubble memory.
Bubble memory. Yes, Christopher. I remember when Christopher H. Binmead critiqued our Miniscope episode.
Oh, I've never felt more happy to be scolded.
I know, that was so awesome. Fact checked us. Speaking of Disney Plus, so on their coming soon to Disney Plus thing on for May 2024, they list 3 episodes coming Friday, May 10th. The Church on Ruby Road, Space Babies, and Devil's Court, which pretty much confirms that the Church on Ruby Road will slot in as episode 1 or episode 0 of that first season under the banner on Disney Plus. So hopefully people don't get confused and watch that first, thinking that this is the premiere. Thinking, wait a second, I saw this at Christmas. What the hell is wrong? So there you go. So who knows what's going to happen with the Tenet specials on Disney Plus? Are they just going to still be labeled as, special 1, 2, and 3 or something like that? Or
they'll put them in a little playlist, I think. That'd be my guess.
That's possibly it, but I suppose we'll find out. Blu-ray news, not for us here in North America, but the season 1 Blu-ray looks like it's going to be released in the UK on August 12th. Whether that means it's going to include the Church on Ruby Road as well. Has that come out on Blu-ray on the UK? I don't even know, actually.
Yes.
I know the Tenet specials did. I can't even remember because we don't have them yet here. So
I'll double check, but I thought it had.
Yeah.
It would make sense that it would.
I think I'm not sure if it did. So because Steve Manfred pointed this out on one of our live streams last year, is that Disney has a thing that they basically wait a year until they even think about putting out digital media for shows that they distribute or air. So that's why we don't have any physical media for Doctor Who in this country.
Church on Ruby Road came out February 12th.
Okay, look at
When
that.
Steve Manfred says
UK.
it, I believe it. He's the Amanda Ray Prescott of DVDs. As she is for if she says something about period drama, I'm not going anywhere else. I'm just going to believe her because she knows what the hell she's talking about.
Absolutely. So there you go. Those of you in the UK, the fun thing is the Amazon.co.uk link that's in the show notes for this has the origin as Poland. Poland has made these Blu-rays and DVDs. Which
God bless the EU. Oh, wait a minute.
Maybe I'll change the link to the Steelbook. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll find out. Will you though? Will you,
no,
Chris?
probably not. No, I've already forgotten.
Not. You got time. It's August 12th anyway, so you're fine. Speaking of August 26th sees the Doctor Who prom returning to Royal Albert Hall August 26th. Tickets go on sale May 17th. Chris, you never went to the Doctor Who prom when you were there, were you?
No, I wasn't. It wasn't a thing when I was there. The Doctor Who, the first one.
Was that the 50th anniversary concert? Was that what it was?
Was it?
No.
What came first?
It was before that.
Okay, there's a prom before the concert.
The last time Doctor Who was at the proms was for the 50th.
Oh, okay.
But there was
no. There's been a prom before then. After that, surely.
Not for Doctor Who. I don't remember. Not for Doctor Who.
What?
Because the thing there, at least the blurb I read said it's a different link from what's in the show notes. Right. Said the last time was 2013 for Doctor Who, but there was stuff before that. Yes.
Okay, I know there's stuff before. I guess it
was in Wales at the Millennium Center.
Didn't Matt Smith show up at the prom, like as the Doctor?
Oh, he certainly did. Yeah, the 50th anniversary one.
Yes.
Yeah. And then of course there was the special concert last year where it was in Cardiff, I think, wasn't it? Or was it London? It was a smaller theater. It wasn't the Royal Albert Hall, obviously, where they performed music and Murray Gold and Sega Nakanola was there.
Yep. Right. Yeah.
And we heard previews of the new theme and yeah.
Yep. But that wasn't the prom.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't the proms though, as you said.
Yeah, but 2008, 7.
Was that the first prom? As far back as then? Wow.
I will try to look it up if you want.
Maybe even 2008, because I think it tied in with the Music of the Spheres mini episode, wasn't it?
Think so. 3
nerds try to remember things about Doctor Who that happened 15 to 17 years ago. This is how that happens.
Yeah, because the Doctor Who at 60 was in Cardiff.
Yeah, I remember that. For the 60th anniversary.
A celebration was 2006.
Oh my God! Come on!
Can't be that far back, can it?
Millie Gibson was 2.
Shut up! Stop talking immediately.
She was literally 2 when that happened.
Maybe she was watching it.
There's the confidential thing.
Okay.
On it.
Sorry, nerds. Sorry, everyone. We're going through this on.
Oh, it's going to get even worse with the next news item. Yeah, I'm going to go deep dive.
Doctor Who Celebration, Cardiff, 2006.
Wow, how about that? Golly, God, man, time, I tell you.
I don't know the exact date here.
That's all right. We don't need to know the
exact date. 19th of November, 2006.
Oh, there we go.
So basically anniversary.
Right. Quasi anniversary, yeah.
Well, there's I can tell you there's 2 performances, one at 2:30 in the afternoon, one at 7 of the Doctor Who prom, both on August 26th, which is 4 days before the anniversary of the broadcast of The Dominators, episode 1. If you want to,
there's an anniversary to celebrate.
Ring in that anniversary, you can. Yeah. So because maybe they'll be playing music from The Dominators, which is basically just
Sure.
That's it. It's just radiophonic stings.
You'd go to a concert of radiophonic stings.
100%. Listen, I think radiophonic stings would be a name, or a supergroup with the Radiophonic Workshop and Sting. And
I like
also,
where you're going with all of this.
Right? The Sting performs with the Radiophonic Workshop. And
I'm not sure how he would sing along with the weird.
Well, he'd find a way. He'd find a way, man. I tell you. All right.
Well, he is an Englishman in New York.
There we go. He was also, not many people know this one, he was in The Police. Did you know that?
I was not aware. He is also in Baron Munchausen.
He was also in
He was
1984
in Dune.
Dune.
He's certainly he is. His clothes aren't, but he is.
Yeah, it's true. Which is probably why a lot of people watch 1984.
A lot of people had a
Dune.
awakening of some sort.
Gordon
Dune.
Samorovner.
Yeah. Hey, Doctor Who: The Edge of Time is coming soon, or is out now on PlayStation VR2. Warren,
yes,
you have a PlayStation VR2.
I bought it on a whim.
What a magical coincidence that you get to talk about playing The Edge of Time on VR.
Okay, so here's the history. So they came out with Edge of Time on PlayStation beforehand. I think the Quest, other stuff like that.
I have it on the Quest.
Yeah, and it was VR to begin with. And then they came out with the Edge of Reality, which is the non-VR version, which they've added stuff to. Because I didn't have a VR anything at the time. So I played that on my Xbox, Edge of Reality, where there's extra stuff added in. And I found it kind of clunky. And the reason for that is that it is originally a VR game. And when you play this, which I have been for I'm not finished, but I'm about 2/3 of the way there. You put the thing on your helmet, on your head, and the controllers, and you're like, oh, this is completely built from the ground up for VR. That's why it is the way it is on Edge of Reality, and why it's much better in VR.
Right.
I can't tell you how cool it is. I'm 53 years old, and I'm inside I'm like literally inside the TARDIS, and I'm just grinning like an idiot and getting a little choked up that I'm inside the TARDIS and the doctor's talking to me. I'm like, oh my God, I don't really care. And the game's not bad. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's more like, it's a bunch of mystery rooms essentially, right? Like most games are, but VR really lends itself to that. So you go in a room and you try to figure out what the hell's going on, and you figure out the clues, and it's like escape room kind of stuff, basically. Most of it. But it is really cool to be wandering around inside Doctor Who. I have a game called Tales from the Galaxy's Edge where you wander around inside Star Wars, and it's equally cool to be in Star Wars. Now, most of what I do is play Resident Evil, where I scare myself silly with Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil Village, and I can only do that for like a half hour. And I know you have motion sickness problems. After about an hour, I'm like, okay, that's enough. I can't do this anymore.
Well, now I tried to play the Quest version, and I literally could not even get out of the laundromat in the very first scene because of just having to move physically. Whereas you're telling me, Warren, because the Quest version does not, or did not.
They added the teleport thing, which teleport I turned off because I like wandering around, but I don't have the same issues with.
For those that don't know, the teleport version is basically you point to a spot in where you are in the world, and you'll just magically teleport there without moving. So
and it takes me out of the immersion, so I don't do it. I like being able to wander around inside the space.
That would totally take you out of things,
but you know what?
It's a good option for somebody like Steven who can't handle it, right?
I can't handle moving around. It's just like instantly I just I got like an instant headache. It was really weird.
It takes me about an hour, but I get it. Which is why the metaverse was always a dumb idea. Nobody's gonna stay in these things for hours.
Are you saying it takes you away?
It did. It took me away. There's no weirdo frogs yet. I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah. So I wish I wonder if they would have updated the Quest version to include teleport.
Well, the VR2, because the VR and the VR2 aren't compatible. Like any game on VR2, because they just look how like the VR2 is a way better set up than PSVR. So I mean, there's the odd one you can play, but most of it is, and they really jack up the fidelity of it.
Right.
Back in the day, was it the PS3 had literal PS2 hardware inside for backward compatibility?
Yeah.
And they don't make
No, Sony's got a really terrible track record compared to Xbox. Like Xbox, you can play stuff from the original Xbox.
Yeah, Microsoft has very much gone out of their way for that.
Like, you can complain about a lot of things with Microsoft. They are excellent at backwards compatibility. I got to give them that.
It is a massive priority for them.
I have both, and it's a lot of fun. If you're a Doctor Who fan, you're going to enjoy it. Also, it comes with the DLC for Time Lord Victorious, which is the tennis stuff, which I've never played. So, I'm going to get through this first, and then I'll do Time Lord Victorious, which is Tennant running around telling you stuff. So that's kind of cool.
In the U.S., this is $12.99. It's nothing.
Yeah. That's totally worth it. If you got a PSVR2, you've already blown $1,000 on the stupid thing, as I did, and it sits in my ottoman most of the time.
That's
and I pick it out every now and again. But
what's an extra $13? It's like $17.49
exactly.
Canada, of course, because things are more expensive. I think it's £9.99 in the UK. I think so. Recommended.
Very affordable.
Warren recommends it.
Yeah.
Very affordable.
Is it the best game ever? No. Is it really cool to be in Doctor Who? Inside Doctor Who? Yes, it absolutely is.
Absolutely.
Is that the one with the super cool soundtrack? Or that was
it's got a pretty good score.
Edge of Time?
Well, is that the
Well, they're probably the same.
Richard
score.
Wilkinson, I think, is
Yeah,
the one
yeah.
that did
I
that.
believe so, yeah.
With what I call the Wilkinson shift in the middle 8, which I really love, and I did a version of the Doctor Who theme and incorporated, and I just love it.
Well, and
just all the difference.
the loading menu, or loading, like the waiting to start the game menu. You're just here, and there's like rocks around you, and then you just turn this way, and you see the TARDIS, and you're like, oh, it's right there,
right?
This is so cool.
Oh, look at that! See. Warren's in his 60s and he gets excited by that.
Not yet. Give me some time here. Come on.
So there you go. Links to the show notes. You can the link in the show notes is
Edge
the
of Reality.
US PlayStation thing.
That's the non-VR one. Edge of Reality.
I got a little bit confused too. But
and it's okay, but it is built to be a VR game. So I mean,
no, I was just
the
looking
superior version is the VR one.
I was just referencing when your interview with Richard Wilkinson was done.
Yes.
Did I actually interview Richard
No, I
Wilkinson?
talked.
Yeah, Warren did. That's right.
Yeah.
October 17th, RFS number 820. No flux given.
There.
One of our better ones.
Risque title.
I'm gonna say Chris came up with that one because he does like the body humor.
Yeah, that's true. BAWDY. All right, so there you go. Links to the show notes to the PlayStation version, the US store, if you want to pick that up. Warren recommends it, and it has teleport, so people like me who don't like VR sometimes could play it. I might have to check. I might have to look into the Quest version to see if they've updated it at all. So I'd like to play it again.
Yeah, they might.
Yeah, never know. Hey, here's some exciting news. Not strict. Oh no, you know what? No, missing episodes found. There we go.
Oh, fandom divided.
Say that right now. No, the film is Fabulous pilot study, which we talked about over the past couple weeks. The pilot study, which Tim Beddoes' film collection was basically taken on board and scanned and is like being like poured through to see what's in it, basically, because it's just a bunch of sort of unmarked film cans. Let's see what's going on. Well, this effort has uncovered so far. There's other stuff to come. An episode of the Basil Brush Show from November of 1970 that was previously missing. Some audition tape from 76 from a show called Play School, and insert rushes from Z Cars from 1967.
Insert rushes, you say. Tell me more.
Yeah, well, listen, insert rushes is why we have some stuff from Fury from the Deep, I think, was the offcuts from the Ealing Film Studio stuff.
As a minutia film nerd, I do appreciate this.
Exactly.
But it's also kind of silly to be. I understand how silly I am, is what I'm saying.
Right. There was also in that batch episodes of Dad's Army, Stepbrother and Son, and The Likely Lads that were better quality prints than existed in the BBC archives. Not missing per se, but better quality. So like this is just even early on during this pilot study. So very promising stuff from Film is Fabulous. Links in the show.
Well, you better speculate
full details on
endlessly.
it. Well, I saw someone on a Doctor Who forum post 2 days ago. That he heard a rumor that the space pirates had all been found. And here's the thing that backed him up on it. He posted a mock-up of what the DVD cover would look like. And so...
This was you. It was you, wasn't it?
I think it's probably as
Proof
as
is
good
never
as
more
gold.
concrete than that.
Right? Exactly.
Also, I saw something on a Doctor Who forum as a curse sentence.
I know. It's going to happen, Warren. It's been, it's almost as long now that we've lost an episode of the Web of Fear, that in between the Web of Fear being originally broadcast and being found is like, it's been like literally 13 years.
Why can't we lose
Morris
forums?
Lost an episode of Web of Fear Part 3.
Why can't somebody just delete these forums for a lot of rumors?
I think they'll just sort of fade out, Warren, if you don't like them, Speaking of fading out, this podcast, but not first before we get to some quick Big Finish news. Big Finish, the Ninth Doctor's Star-Crossed, not the Ben Bova written Star
Yeah, I was
Lost
waiting for that.
expose, but the Christopher Eccleston piece is coming out in May of 2024. Colin Baker returns in The Trials of a Time Lord. Get it?
And we worry about our titles? Come on.
Yeah, do August of that year. Peter Davison returns The Great Beyond in September of 2024, and Torchwood owns the summer with 4 new Torchwood adventures from July through September. So all the links in the show notes to all of those. October. July, August, September, October. That's right. That's the 4th month. That's the 4th month right there. So that's how that works. So So there we go. One last reminder: in 2 weeks' time, kidders, not next week, but this coming week, 2 weeks' time, our live stream reviews begin Saturdays. Our first one will be Saturday, May 11th, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. in the UK. We review Space Babies and The Devil's Cord. And next week when Warren is not here, but it'll be
rat me guilt about that.
Oh, you will be so guilty. We'll text you and why aren't you here, Warren? You're in Edmonton right now.
Throw my phone away.
Yep. There's gonna be a lot of stuff, I reckon, in the U.S. For the big press launch. This is the stuff it's been building to. Basically, let's face it, all the Disney money is coming out right now, this coming week when it comes to promotion for Doctor Who. It's going to be pretty big. I have no insider knowledge. I'm just basically going off on what we've been expecting and told to believe. So it's going to be
Take
pretty
that,
big.
Nelson Pelt.
Yep, we're going to cover all of it on the next episode of Radio Free Skaro. So until then,
we
Warren,
got
Chris,
you covered.
We got. We
Ugh,
do not
gross.
have this covered. We
Disgusting.
do not have this covered.
Another curse sentence.
And on that note, until next time, I am Stephen at Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
Happy Magna Carta Day, and Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.